I told you about the miserable turnout number in Nevada. Nevada is the second consecutive contest Romney has won where turnout is down from 2008. In Florida, it was down by a whopping 13%. Turnout was up slightly in Iowa and New Hampshire, and up by a whopping 36% in South Carolina, a state that Gingrich won. But overall, 3% fewer Republicans have voted this year than did 4 years ago through the first 5 contests, should that matter. Dan Balls is the Washington Post chief correspondent and author of The Take. Faiz Shakir is editor-in-chief of ThinkProgress.org and vice president of the Center for American Progress. And Susan Page is Washington bureau chief for USA Today. Dan, let me start with you. Here's what Newt Gingrich has been saying, trying to use this turnout number to his fact. Listen to this factoid he said, which is, as it turns out, absolutely correct.
Over time, I don't believe the American people will approve of a campaign which actually suppresses turnout. I think it's amazing. If you go look at Florida, every county I carried in Florida had an increased turnout.
This was so fascinating. Yeah, it's amazing. Dan Balls, first of all, at first I'm like, really? Is he throwing that out there? And then it turned out he was right on this. This turnout issue, combined with what we saw in your poll this morning, Republicans should be a little nervous?
I think they absolutely should be nervous. Everything we've seen about Governor Romney as a candidate suggests that there's just very little enthusiasm for him in the base of the Republican Party. And that was so crucial in 2010 for the Republicans. There was so much energy that the party had, and that enthusiasm gap was in a significant part the reason that they were able to do so well. If they don't have that going forward this year, they've got a problem.
Well, in Nevada specifically, Romney's vote was down 25%. He got about 22,000 votes in 2008. He was down about 16,000 this last time.
How important is this? Look, we know where we are in this. You're trying to help the president get reelected. You're trying to define Mitt Romney. How important is this Republican primary been to your efforts?
Well, it's a vindication of the fact that people aren't enthusiastic about Romney. I mean, I think that it's all of the core messages about why they aren't. They don't trust him. They don't like his message. They think that he is not empathetic towards people in the middle class and those fighting to try to rejuvenate America. And so I think all of the core messages for why people don't like him in the GOP primary are the same reasons why he won't work well in a general.
Susan, and he's getting a benefit, if you believe the Washington Post poll, of almost of an, well, he's the lesser of two evils. Look at this number here, but the more you've heard about a presidential candidate, the more you like or the less you like. With Mitt Romney, 24% say the more they hear, the more they like. 52% say less they like. Lucky for him, Newt Gingrich, it's even worse. It's 19% say the more they hear, the more they like. 60% say the less you like. So Romney is benefiting from his opponents.
Well, but I think if you talk about warning signs for the general election, this is a bigger one than enthusiasm, because it's possible that when and if Romney is the nominee, that the enthusiasm to defeat Obama will translate to his, come over to his side and help him resume that enthusiasm gap. But the more people hear about him, the less they like him. That's a big problem in a national election, when all that's going to happen for the next couple months is that people will hear more and more and more about Mitt Romney.
And then there's, of course, this issue of the economy. Listen to, I've got back-to-back bites here from President Obama and Mitt Romney about sort of where the economy is right now.
I deserve a second term, but we're not done. Look, when you and I sat down, we were losing 750,000 jobs a month. Now we're creating 250,000.
He's celebrating that it's at 8.3. Well, that's still above the emergency line of 8%. And by the way, he doesn't get credit for things getting better.
Hey, Dan, when he just sort of threw that, by the way, he doesn't get credit. It's like, no, it almost sounded a little whiny.
Well, sure. I mean, it's hard when you have goody hitters and you're trying to defeat the president.
Remember the Democrats in 2004? They were almost rooting for the economy.
You can't say, yeah, we really want that unemployment rate to go back up.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, the flip side of that is that the president's not out of the woods on this topic, and there's lots of possibilities that unemployment could tick back up, that it won't continue to go down. Everything as you look forward suggests, yes, this recovery is continuing, but not at a pace that gives people any enthusiasm to go out and say, yeah, the president's really done a great job. That hasn't happened yet.
And in fact, before you jump in, I want to throw up two other poll numbers that I thought were fascinating also in the Washington Post poll. Feelings about the federal government, 24% positive, 75% negatives, and then the feelings about the U.S. tax system, favors the middle class, 9%, favors the wealthy, 68%. So I know what you want to focus on, which is the tax system, fairness and unfairness, but the fact is the president's the head of the federal government, and they don't like that.
Yeah, they don't like Congress.
And this is the sort of, but this is sort of the
yeah, they see Congress not working. They see a loggerhead going on between Obama and Congress. I think they blame Congress far more than they blame Obama. Very quickly on the taxes, Dan wrote that they're closely matched, I think, in his article today. He's a good reporter. I think that actually the spread is about 4 points on registered voters. Obama wins on the tax issue by 4, and then amongst all Americans about 10 points. And so I think on that one, it looks like the inequality and fairness argument is going to help Obama in the general election, to my reading.
Romney needs a response to this, doesn't he? Better than he has now.
And, you know, the academics who have studied unemployment in election years say that it's not the absolute number that matters, it's the direction. So if unemployment is going down, even if it's high, good for Obama. If it starts to tick up, even modestly, bad for Obama.
All right, hang around. We're going to have to talk about a couple of celebrities that are sort of weighing in, sort of in the presidential race. That'll be after the break. Trivia, we have...
It's halftime, America, and our second half's about to begin.
Susan Page, and I'm insert presidential candidate here, and I approve of this message. You know, watching the car ads in general, particularly over the last 3 or 4 months, you know, the president doesn't have very effective super PACs right now, but maybe he does. Maybe they're GM, Ford, Chrysler.
Well, I mean, I thought this was powerful, and the one last year I liked even better. As kind of and it made you feel like, you know, Detroit has not been part of the core message of America for a while, but it made you really root for it.
You know, the selling
4 words though that we all should have remembered as we watched that ad: "Let Detroit go bankrupt," which was Mitt Romney's
headline. Remember, that was the New York Times.
That was Mitt Romney's argument in the New York Times in 2008, and he said that we shouldn't bail them out.
You know, Dan, this is selling. We were talking about this optimism, pessimism thing, and I remember Democrats in 2004 trying to sell pessimism, frankly, about the economy. They were looking for a second issue on the war, sort of, and they got accused of rooting against the economy. Republicans sounding like, well, it's not good enough, and yet here you have sort of big corporations trying to sell optimism, the president trying to sell optimism. That does have an effect on the psyche, doesn't it?
Yes, you can't be grudging as a presidential candidate about these things, and we know that optimistic candidates do generally much better than pessimistic candidates. If the public mood is sour, the Republicans will benefit from that, but you can't try to feed that unduly, particularly when things look like they may be going well, and you're sort of suggesting, well, we're not sure we really want them to be that good.
All right, before we go, even a lighter note, Tim Tebow was asked about his future for office, and I'm just looking for an excuse to play the clip on the Golf Channel of all places. Here's what he said.
Would you ever think of like running for office?
You know, for me, it could be something in my future. You know, it's something I'll have to think about and definitely pray about. And you know, I have no idea right now, but you know, possibly.
All right, Governor Tebow, what do you think, Faiz? Nobody wants to run against him right now.
Well, I mean, we haven't heard any of his policy views on economic unfairness.
Oh, here we go. Dancing progress, getting right on him there.
Governor, Senator,
grudging. Bah humbug to you. All right, shameless plug. Susan, go.
Primaries. I mean, these caucuses, tiny, weird collections of
Iowa knows how to do it. At least they had over.
They didn't even know how to count. Neither caucuses did effective counts. Nevada's still counting. What did they finish like this morning? Yeah.
That was embarrassing. Nevada should be banned from the
And Iowa counted them, but counted them wrong.
Right, but at least they got hundreds of thousands.
See, I want to do, instead of a shameless plug, a shameful plug for the Nevada Republican Party.
I completely agree. Sorry, John Ralston. Not fair to John Ralston.
If this Komen v. Planned Parenthood fallout, we reported last week on Think Progress that Ari Fleischer was behind some of the strategy of Komen. I think it suggests that there's actually more of an ideology, right-wing ideology, at Komen that's governing some of their decisions here.
All right, Dan, Faiz, Susan, thank you all. That's it for this edition of the Daily Rundown.